Everybody's mad about something. Recently, I got attacked online by some gay bloggers, and it hurt my feelings. I have no problem with gay people, but I hate bloggers. I'm not saying it because this person was gay. They was acting like a bitch online. They was like mischaracterizing my jokes, trying to make a point off of me, when it was really, it's like, yo, I'm your ally, motherfucker. I'm not trying to stop gay people. I got better shit to do. This motherfucker was saying things to try to get gay people to beat me up. Seriously, he was like, Dave Chappelle's jokes. I don't know how he actually talks when he's making his voice up. Dave Chappelle's jokes were an affront to the manhood of all gay men. What the does that mean? I didn't say anything that would allude to gay men not being men. I know you men. In fact, what could be manlier than fucking another guy in the ass? It's the most gangster shit I've ever heard of in my life. I told you I'm not cut out for that. I'm a You know what I said? That's all I said. First of all, I'll tell you right now what I said. And I will tell you that this was not a joke. It's a true story. And I just happened to tell it. All right, what happened was I went to a gallery party, all right? I don't know who in here has ever been rich before, but these are very nice parties. You know, wine and cheese and ball of conversation. And there was a few eccentric types, one of which was a very wealthy man that happened to be wearing a dress. I don't know what you call him, man. This is a tranny or a drag queen, perhaps. Whatever it was definitely a man. And this man was definitely on drugs. I don't know what kind of drugs he's on, but I knew he had too much. He didn't look good. It's like this. It's like, he looked sick. And all his friends were standing around him, concerned, trying to revive him. I don't know whether it looked like some kind of gay CPR. There was fanning and shit. I saw all this from a distance. Now, I should have minded my own business, but I got curious. I was like, oh. And I went over there. All I said, excuse me, gentlemen, is he okay? And then they looked at me like I was evil. She is fine. I'm sorry, I didn't know this is what we were doing. Here's my thing. I would support anybody's right to be whoever they feel like they are inside. I'm your ally in that. However, my question is, to what degree do I have to participate in your self-image? Is it fair that I have to change my whole pronoun game up for this motherfucker? Doesn't make sense. Seriously. If I put on an Argyle sweater and I'm like, hey everybody, I feel like a white guy in this sweater and I want some goddamn respect and a bank loan. That's not gonna work. Give a f I feel, why should I give a f how you feel? Nigger's a pronoun. But there was no time for philosophical debate. This was an emergency situation. I said, fine. Sorry, guys. I was just worried because she looks terrible. And she just fell off the bench. Appears that her dick is popping out of her dress. You mind if I call an ambulance, champ? I'd rather not be at a party where a tranny ODs. There's too many questions to answer. Okay, I've been through this before. I had a friend from high school. Now, in high school, this guy was a thug, right? He was a fucking dope boy. He did it all. He's a wild dude. People used to be very scared of him. And then after high school, word on the street was he'd come out the closet. I personally didn't believe it. I bring him up because last year, he calls me out of the blue like, yo, what's up, man? I got your number from so-and-so, and I heard you're going to be in New York doing a show. Could I get some tickets? I was like, yeah, get some tickets, man. How you been? He said, well, we'll catch up at the show, man. But, yo, I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. I said, all right, man, take care. And I was about to hang up, and I couldn't resist. I was just like, hey, man, I heard you was gay. What's going on with that? And I wish I didn't ask, because he sounded like he was dying to talk about that shit. And he had a long story about it. And it's not that I didn't care, But I was, I don't like talking on the phone. I was watching TV at the same time. So I just wasn't really paying attention like I should. But I was trying to sound supportive, but I didn't really know what to say. So I just like mumbling shit throughout this conversation. I just be like, nigga, you gay, man. You just gay. This went on for a while, and then finally I had to say something like definitive to get him off the phone. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? Don't let people get you down, all right? And the next time someone tries to make you feel bad about yourself, just remember, everybody is funny to somebody. He didn't like that shit. He's like, what the does that mean? I said, huh? He said, you saying I'm funny, motherfucker? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying everybody's different. He said, you ain't say different, nigga. You say it funny. What's so funny about the way I And I said, hey, man, I feet. He said, what? Oh, this is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. I get women to squeeze their feet together like this, and I them right in a little space in their feet. But you can't build a community behind that shit. There's no flag for us. That shit made him laugh. And the next day, after the show, I saw him backstage. He was like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? And he had his buddy with him. He goes, Dave, I want you to meet Manuel. Manuel's my fiance. We're in New York getting married because it's legal here. I said, well, gracias. And he went to go get some drinks. And then my buddy looked at me. He was like, so, Dave, what do you think? And I started mumbling again. You're gay, nigga. You're just gay. He said, yeah, I'm a little nervous about getting married, man. It's a big step. I said, yeah, it is. It's a big step. He said, well, you've been married for a while. You got any advice for us? No, I'm married to a woman. Sorry about that. And he corrected me. He said, no, you married the person that you love. So it's essentially the same. I said, man, the problem with that statement is that it makes the assumption that I love her. But you guys lighten the up. Of course I love my wife. She laughs at this shit. As a matter of fact, she eats and spends this shit. You know what I told him? I told him, I said, you know what you should do, man? First of all, you shouldn't do it. I'm talking about being legally married. It's not that you're gay as much as just legal marriage is a f***ing diabolical leverage game in the United States. I'm just being honest. Devoid of religious significance or the idea of love, marriage is nothing but an awful contract that you shouldn't sign. I'm just being real. Because you start out loving each other, and then like 2 years later, you're just building a case against one another for a hypothetical court date that may or may not ever happen. You throw being gay on top of that, that shit is explosive. Like I said, Ray Rice shit. Okay, right after Ray Rice went through all that shit, I was at a party and I met this kid, Michael Sams. You know Michael Sams? Very nice guy. He's the first openly gay NFL player. And Mike's a very nice guy, a very brave guy. But when I met him, I couldn't help but thinking, his wife in the elevator. Is that domestic violence or is that just two working shit out in the elevator? You know what I mean? Anyway, I give all married men the same advice, gay or straight. Get a dog. This dog will love you all the time, but she's not going to. It's real talk. I didn't even know about dogs, and my kids got the dog. They brought him home from the shelter, and I didn't even want him. They're like, can we keep him? I said, nope. I said, where did you even get this dog? They're like, we got him from the shelter. I was like, ew. Probably something wrong with him. Can't keep him. And then my kids started crying and screaming like the dog had gambling debts. Please, Dad, if you don't let us keep him, they're going to kill him. I was like, oh. All right, you can keep him. And this dog was a menace. I hated his guts. Then one night I'd smoked a bunch of weed and I was eating a sandwich and Baba came over. Baba's the dog. He came over and was staring at me. This will make you very uncomfortable if you're just looking at you. I had to give him a piece of my sandwich so he'd go away. And that's how we became friends. Now, if you see me walking down the street with Baba, I ain't got no leash or nothing. He walks right next to me. If I stop, he'll stop. And if I go, he'll go. And all my friends are like, yo, Dave, that shit is dope. How you train Baba to do that shit? I've never trained Baba. Just a messy eater. If I drop food and Baba's not around, all I gotta do is call him. Baba! He's a black dude's dog, so he doesn't come right away. He peeks first to see what's going on. I gotta tap my foot so he can see the food. Over here, little buddy. And he's like, thanks, Dave. He'll come get it and run off. But he knows all my habits. Like, if he smells weed in the house, he'll be like, nah, this motherfucker's about to eat. And he'll just come running. Baba got me through a very difficult time. I seen your girl bubbling. She's drunk as hell, buddy. Listen, sir, I don't know what she's saying, but just take my advice. Get some water in her, or you're going to have some dry pussy when you get home. His dick's going to be shaped the up tomorrow. Santa Maria. Who got a cigarette in here? Anyone got a cigarette I can borrow? Yeah, you fella, yeah, please. Well, let me see this. This is a Marlboro menthol. This could have been anybody. If it was a Newport, I'd be like a black dude threw that up. But a Marlboro menthol, that's one of them riddles. Is the word pussy offensive? All right, just checking. I asked that crowd when we was in Denver, I said, is the word people? One was a woman in the front. She's older than me, maybe around my age. Definitely a feminist. You know what I mean? Short haircut, plaid shirt, you know what I'm saying? And she didn't say it offended her. What she said is, she said, I'm uncomfortable with that word. And I was like, really? You? And then before I could ask her why, there was one other guy. He was in the balcony. Now, I don't think he was saying this to me, but he said this. Everybody heard him say it. He goes, it's delicious. I don't think I've ever heard it called delicious before in my life. Now, this is not to say that it's bad, but it's definitely an acquired taste. I don't think any of us tasted pussy our first time like, it's good. It needs something. You know, it's illegal for gynecologists to say the word pussy. They can only say vagina or they can name individual parts medically, but they can never say shorthand, even if the gynecologist is a woman. I feel like if it was a woman... I don't think men should be allowed to be gynecologists. That shit is a conflict of interest. Even when my wife was pregnant, we used to go to the gynecologist. And he'd put her legs up in that stirrup like this. He'd be like, all right, Miss Chappelle, just try to relax. I'd push her back up, motherfucker. I got this. Just tell me what to look for. We spend the most time together. Like, it's not that me and my wife don't spend time together, but we've been married so long, it's like we don't talk like, I don't know if anyone's married here, but after 10 years, all that chatty shit goes away. You've said it all. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, we're just in the zone. She says the same shit to me every night before she goes to bed. I'll be the last one up. She's like, let me get some sleep, Dave. Good night. All right, babe, let's stay and watch television. Good night. And she'll walk halfway up the steps. David? Don't eat the kids' lunch. And then she walks away. Well, the crazy shit is I don't even eat their lunch anymore. Back in the day, I used to eat that shit. You know how that goes. I might smoke some weed in the middle of the night and she'll leave neatly wrapped sandwiches all over the kitchen. I'm gonna eat it. What's the big deal? Why can't she just make another one in the morning? I mean, it's like, I got sons anyway. And sons love everything their dads do. My kids will be at school the next day, just look like, oh, Dad bit my sandwich. Oh, shit! You could trade that sandwich for something better. What I'm doing is adding value to their lunch. She doesn't understand these types of things. Anyway, she gets mad at me. Well, she's mad at me now because I got myself in trouble. I got myself extorted, which happens in this business. I come home from the road. There was a FedEx sitting on the kitchen table, and it was addressed to me, so I opened it. I don't know who delivered it. And there was a video cassette inside with a note written on it that said, gotcha. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? I freaked out. I tore the whole house apart. Trying to find the VCR. I hadn't seen a tape in like over a decade. And I watched the tape and it was awful. They got me. It was a tape of me. I was f***ing a girl, okay? But it was from before I was married. But it was not a good look. And I felt sick to my stomach. And I looked up at the clock and then I saw my wife was coming home in 10 minutes and I just panicked. I jerked off to the tape real fast. And then... And then I called the FBI. Much better. I mean, they didn't say they were going to cash him for sure, but they had the demeanor of some competent people that would cash him. So I didn't worry about it too much. And then not even a week later, 5 days later, I come home and there's another video cassette just sitting on my porch. As soon as I saw it, I just called the police like, they've done it again. You should probably look for a guy with bell bottoms on because I don't know who the f is sending tapes. And that second tape was the worst shit I'd ever seen in my life. It was awful. Career-ending bad. It was a tape of me jerking off to the tape a week earlier. I don't even know how they'd even get such a thing. I had to explain all of this to my wife. She was very mad. No thing in this world is as cold as a woman's cold shoulder. Because she was mad, but she wouldn't talk to me about it. She would just punish me in little ways. Make me do shit that I hate to do. Like pick the kids up from school. That's one thing she made me do. That's a hardship for me. I got one son that goes to a public school, and little brother goes to a private school. It's an experiment. I just want to see what's going to happen to him. But what's weird is my little son in private school, he's like my thuggy son, you know what I mean? I don't know where he get that from. He's not getting it from me. And he's definitely not getting it from that school. That school is it's a liberal school. It's the kind of school, there might be like 12 black students in the entire school. And I'm the only black parent. And none of the parents like me either. Not because I'm black, but just like they don't like how I roll. Because I've been showing up late all the time, and I'm like in a Porsche and blasting music that they don't like. You know, the music be like, I'll beat the pussy up, and I pull into the parking lot. I might be smoking a cigarette with the kids in the car. Then I pull into like that handicap space. And then when I get out of the handicap space, they always want to say some passive-aggressive shit. Morning, Dave. Don't know if you noticed, but you actually parked in the handicap space. Huh? Yeah, you know what, Frank? I did notice. But who is this handicapped guy we're all waiting on that never shows up? So I hate going over to that school. The only parents that are nice to me is a lesbian couple, Kate and Sarah. Actually, Kate hates my guts. Sarah knows that I'm black and she's half black, so she just understands me. You know what I'm saying? I can't explain it. Because I'll say shit and Kate's just too serious about being a lesbian. I'll be like, hey, Kate, hey, Sarah, you guys going to do the father-son picnic next week? How's that going to work? And Kate will instantly be furious. But Sarah knows I'm around, so she'll just say something cool. I don't know, Dave. Maybe me and Kate will flip for that shit. I said, bitch, you better save that coin toss because everybody knows who's strapping on in that household. And then Kate will turn bright red, but Sarah just fist bump me like, you right, man? It's me. We're good friends. We're good friends. They invite me to stuff. They're like my only friends at the school. So imagine my surprise when I go to pick my son up after all this happens. And the teacher is waiting outside for me. She's just standing right there in the middle of the handicap space. I knew something was wrong, so I rolled the window. Let me talk to you for a minute in the office. I said, no, f that. We got to talk right here. What's going on? I knew it was bad. Ibrahim had a fight. I said, a fight? Don't worry. Everyone's okay. I said, everyone? What happened? Well, that's it. We don't know what happened because he won't talk to anybody. All we know is that he punched Sarah Jr. in the face. I said, oh, no. Sarah's one of the only parents I'm not sure I can beat up in this school. Just then, Kate and Sarah pulled up to pick up their daughter, and then we all had to go into the office, and I was really worried because I didn't want them to kick me out of the school. And then they brought my son in. He was crying. They brought him in like a prisoner. He was like, oh. I said, son, just stop crying, calm down. Do not look at these mean faces. I need you to look at my face, and I need you to tell me the truth, buddy, all right? Just tell me the truth. Is it true? Did you punch that girl, Sarah Jr., in the face? I was trying to give him a signal to lie, but he didn't pick up on it. I was like, he wasn't paying attention. He said, yes, Daddy, I punched her face. I said, oh, my God. Why? Why would you do that? You're not supposed to put your hand. So gangster, it scared all the parents in the room. He was like, because she had it coming. I said, and everyone looked at me. I said, I did not teach you. I don't know where he got that from. I said, what does that mean, son? That is crazy talk. What does that mean? And then he just started crying like he was Tupac. Oh, these kids keep f***ing with me. I told his teacher, I said, well, now wait a minute. This kid is a lot of things, but he's not a liar. And if he said they was fucking with him, they did something to him. Son, what's going on? What did they do to you? Oh, Dad, I'm tired of this shit. It's been going on all week. I said, what's going on all week? He said, what is that bunch? And that bitch bit my sandwich. I said, oh. He said, it's the fourth time this week. I'm tired of this sandwich biting bitch. I said, stop using that word. Let's go home. That's a quiet car ride home. We got to the house, he just ran right up to his room, slammed the door. His mother came downstairs. By then, she had heard about everything. She was looking at me like, oh my. She said, you bit that goddamn sandwich, didn't you? I said, I'm tired of you accusing me of shit. And I just ran out of the house, jumped in my car and drove off. Of course I bit that sandwich. But I knew that she was just really mad about that tape, so now she was going to punish me about Look, honestly, I'll stop talking about it. Let me say this, though. Let me just say this. Can we all just say that we've seen it coming? Were you surprised? It's like when that guy threw that banana at me. Do you think I was surprised? Hell no. I've been in show business 30 years. I was expecting this banana. I knew one of these nights, it's like somebody gonna throw a banana at me one of these nights. Because that's how it starts, with the name calling. Like that Paula Deen. Remember Paula Deen got fired from the Food Network? If you know anything about show business, it is really hard to get fired from the fucking Food Network. And they dropped that bitch like a hot potato. All because she called somebody an N-word 30 years before she had a show. I don't know who she said it to, but whoever it was just looking at her like, I'm gonna get you for this bitch. And she came back 30 years later like a Bill Cosby rape and sunk a battleship. And every black person was mad, but we weren't like that mad. I was just like, well, how's this bitch gonna call me a nigga when she taught me how to fry chicken? That's not fair. I think Donald Sterling shit was more serious. Remember Donald Sterling? He used to own the Clippers, and then he got caught on a secretly recorded tape saying some very unsavory things about African Americans. And there's a lesson in that for all of us. The lesson is, if you are old and white and racist in this great country, whatever you do, don't tell your black girlfriend about that shit, because that's who made the tape. She recorded all that shit, and the tape was terrible. He was like, stop bringing these black guys to my games. First, we're all confused, like, well, how the f*** do we have a game without us? But it turned out that the black guy he was speaking of was none other than Magic Johnson, the billionaire. Unbelievable. Never even mentioned the fact that he had AIDS, which is... This guy must be really racist if AIDS is the footnote. Well, you gotta be careful, baby. He got the old Ebola. You can say what you want about that girl, but I'm gonna tell you right now, she is a goddamned hero. Because you might have thought these things were happening before, but now you can see it all in front of you without a shadow of a doubt. That shit actually went down. She sucked that old guy's dick. She really took one for the team on that one. That's really gross. This dick is like 80 years old. It's like tasting history. Like 5 wars on it, civil rights movement, Great Depression. This guy's been from 40 years before Bill Cosby's first rape. This is a very old man. A very old penis. But all that shit is still, it's just name calling. Like, name calling does not break the modern black man. That's not gonna do the trick. I don't give a f about that. Like, if I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, Ku Klux Klan, hood on top of their head, what do you think I'm gonna do in this day and age? Run out Kentucky Fried Chicken? Not if I'm hungry. I'll go straight to the front. Hey, man, let me get a 2-piece. I don't give a f what he says. You want a biscuit with that, nigga? I thought it came with a biscuit. What's all this attitude? I want a two-piece. Chop, chop. You know what it is. But I'm not going to be mad. Why would I be mad? He's the one that's got to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken, not me. Well, how about this? What if I lived in Austin and I had a white girlfriend? It's possible in Austin. As a matter of fact, some people say it's necessary, but that's not the point. And me and my white girlfriend at home one night, and we're just doing what lovers do. Maybe she's naked and she's down on one knee, giving me a hand job. I love a good hand job. And she's really jerking me off. You know, getting her obliques nice and tight. I got a huge dick, so she's like, And I'm like, wow, this really feels wonderful. I think I'm gonna come. I know, that's a tough one. But what do you think I'm gonna do? Hey! That's no time for integrity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm busting that nut in her face. I'll sort through the ethics later. But I'm what they call a man of his word. If I say I'm coming, I'm coming. I don't give a what happens. God forbid somebody could shoot me. If I say I'm coming, it's still like, oh. Doesn't mean I like getting shot. Boy. Yeah, tough time for the blacks. I'm not going to say nothing about the police. I'll leave that for Chris Rock. Ebola was in Texas. Ebola made a visit. Killed that man in Dallas. 5 days that man melted to death. What happened to the brother in Dallas? Where was the secret serum is what we all said. I remember in the beginning of Ebola, there were 2 American doctors that got sick in Africa. They flew them in a private jet straight to Atlanta to the CDC. I didn't even know CDC saw patients. There it was said they administered what the New York Times called a secret serum. I don't know what's in it. It's just like Colonel Sanders' recipe. But both of these motherfuckers survived. These doctors, thank God, are healthy. They are out there somewhere tonight at Whole Foods, touching vegetables, walking around. Everything's okay. Hey, Frank, how are you? Oh, you didn't hear? I had Ebola last week, but I'm doing all right now. I was bleeding out of my eyes and anus, so I got concerned, but I'm okay. What happened to the brother in Dallas? They just rubbed some Vicks on that nigga. I knew he wasn't going to make it. I already knew. Sad. I saw in the New York Times, they said Ebola is the new AIDS. Whew. Isn't that something? Here I am thinking that old AIDS was working just fine. And they already have a new AIDS out. Isn't that amazing how they do that? Isn't it weird how there's a disease that just starts in 1980 and it doesn't kill anybody but niggas, fags, and junkies? Isn't that a amazing coincidence that this disease hates everybody that old white people hate? I think either God is white or the government hid that shit in disco balls. Only fun people get AIDS. Last month on the front of the New York Times, the measles was a headline. I had to check the date of the paper. I was like, measles, what is this, 1850? What the is this? Why is measles in the news? Turns out they were trying to decide if mandatory vaccinations for children is the way we all want to go. Any thoughts? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I don't know about this one. First of all, black people generally don't trust doctors. You know, after the Tuskegee experiments and all that shit. More importantly, don't forget Michael Jackson was killed by a doctor. Granted, he was doing drugs, but if I was a heroin addict and I had a licensed physician injecting heroin in me, I should survive that. I'd just be looking like, oh, I'm good, right? I'm good? It's not too much, is it? Dr. Butterfingers killed Michael Jackson. After that, I was like, going to the doctor. The fuck am I getting my kids vaccinated for an old-ass disease like measles? This is ridiculous. You might as well give them a diarrhea shot if you're so worried. Diarrhea has a bigger body count than the measles do. You know, diarrhea is funny today, but 100 years ago, if your ass had diarrhea, you were a goner. There was like a 0 chance of survival. You get that first squirt, uh-oh. Gotta start getting my affairs in order. But I don't have much time. It's diarrhea. It's very serious. You just watch your buddy slowly die in a pool of his own shit. I give up diarrhea. Nowadays, your buddy just be like, oh, well, you got diarrhea? Just eat a banana, nigga, drink some water, let's get to the club. Still make last fucking sandwich I bit. I was mad as f***. You know what I said to myself? I said, I should just never go home. F*** this shit. You know, by the way, that's how people used to get divorced in the 40s. There wasn't no divorce court in America. Back in those days, if you want to get out your marriage, you just tell your wife, hey, baby, I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes. I'll be right back. You would just leave with the clothes on your back. That's when men were men. And there was no internet back then, so you could move 11 miles away and have a whole new life. But I ended up going back home. Late at night. I came in the room and she was actually changing for bed. You can always tell your wife is mad at you when they cover their titties up when you walk in. Oh. Let those titties out. It's me, baby. Can we just talk about this for a minute? She said, David, there's nothing to talk about. I already know you bit the sandwich. And don't go looking for the lunch. I hid it. I said, I don't want to talk about the sandwich, baby. I want to talk about it. The tape. I know that's why you're mad. It was a very difficult conversation. I had to crack a few jokes, and we started talking, and then she cracked a few jokes that hurt my feelings, honestly, but... We talked, and you know what she told me? She told me that she was madder about the second extortion tape than she was about the first one. Which doesn't make sense at all. What's wrong with a guy touching his own private parts? It's my own business. It's not like I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, sometimes I do it for her benefit. A lot of guys do this. It's called the mercy jerk. That's the one that happens in the middle of the night when you're about to roll on top of it and you see her face and you're like, she looks tired. That takes a lot of love and discipline to back out of a room with a rock hard dick. Sometimes I don't make it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Someone fell asleep with their socks off, didn't they? You can't rape feet. You can't rape feet. Only time I jerk off now is in the game. Sometimes she'll tell me, Dave, I'm going to take the kid to my mom real quick. Probably back in a couple of hours. A couple hours? You can get a good one in 2 hours. That's the kind of session where you'll take all your clothes off. I'll be butt naked in the living room like, get these fucking toys out of my way. Disgusting. Foot all on the coffee table, just stroking it out, taking my time. And I got a bowl of cereal waiting for me right here. That's when you have the privacy, you can have a loud orgasm. I miss those. Ah! 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 You know, when a guy busts a nut, like right after that, there's a window of like 6 minutes where he does the most rational thing he ever does. That's when he's always horrified. Ah! God, what have I done? Oh my God, it's everywhere. Ah! Thank you very much, Austin, Texas. I had a wonderful time. Be well, be happy. Good night, everybody.
30 years in this industry.
Yeah, man, you know, it's funny. So my youngest son is 14 now. That's how old I was when I started. You know, I'm 44 now. I look at him, and I think all the things that were going on around me at that time and what it was like starting, and now I can't imagine that that's what happened. But at the time, it felt very natural, and it felt very safe, even though it was not. You know, I mean, but I'm just grateful, man. Like, to be able to do something like this for 30 years, I gotta be one of the luckiest people alive, man. Like, I don't know that I've ever really had any other job.
How old were you when you made your first TV development deal?
19. My mother and my grandmother were freaked out. You know, I was the first person in my family not to go to college that had not been a slave.
Right.
So I was really breaking from tradition, and it was like a graduation lunch we were having, and they had my dad come and talk to me, and my dad takes me outside, and he's like, listen, and this is some advice that applies to all you acting students. He says, to be an actor is a lonely life. Everybody wants to make it, and you might not make it. And I said to my dad, well, that depends on what making it is, Dad. He was a smart-ass kid.
Yeah.
It depends on what making it is, Dad. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're a teacher. I said, if I can make a teacher salary doing comedy, I think that's better than being a teacher. And he started laughing. He said, if you keep that attitude, I think you should go. He said, but name your price in the beginning. If it ever gets more expensive than the price you name, get out of there. Mm-hmm. Thus, Africa.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love that dude.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever. And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh, my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. You know, in the past, I used to always tell a lot of jokes about white people. And I know there's a lot of white people here with us tonight. Good evening, whites. Everybody knows what it's like to be embarrassed or to be feel marginalized. The implication is authority. Nobody likes authority figures. When I say jokes about white people, don't think for a second that I'm talking about you. Don't forget, I almost had $50 million once. When you make enough money in America, they'll pull back the curtain and introduce you to the real white people. You guys just think you're white.
Dave Chappelle is very intelligent. He's well raised. That goes without saying. A person who is well raised knows to respect the elders. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with anything, even a little bit of what the elder says, but you respect the elder for surviving.
It's so much bigger than money, though, Dave. It's so much bigger than money.
Oh, no, it was bigger than money. But you know what? I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently, baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. Bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Well, veteran of comedy, people look to you to kind of clear the fog that we as Americans go through. I know you take that seriously, but is that a big burden on you, that people look to you for clarity, they look for you for truth?
I think that it's a symptom of just how maybe bankrupt our society is right now, that we're looking to our entertainers for this type of guidance. But when things are obscure, artists do try to tell the truth. Sometimes it's not like they're looking for the truth. Sometimes they just want to hear their truth come out of somebody else. Like, why don't, you know what I mean? So I don't look at it as a burden, or I don't even look at it as a responsibility. I just think it's the nature of the genre. And I think that one of the things that's special about our genre in this day and age is that it's very engaging. It's very personal. And I think in this cyberspace world that people need an entertainer that looks them in the eyes and says the things that they feel. For all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, I had a $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in D.C. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government, so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact, because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze.
This is my last question for you. You don't do many sit-down TV interviews. Why is that?
Because so much of an answer depends on how you feel any given day, but it lives forever. That your opinions about things can change, your view of yourself can change, and yet this is on a permanent record. Like Donald Trump, he complains about it because someone can look at him and say, well, you said in 1984 that this, that, or the other, and that's the cross you have to bear when you engage the press. And more important than that, I talk for a living, so I don't want to blather about me blathering. You know what I mean? I'd rather just do it.
Well, this has been f***ing wonderful. I don't know what to say, man. I don't even want this night to end. I promise you, whoever cares the most, I care at least as much as them. I know what I got, because I lost it all. I gotta tell you something, and I don't talk about it often. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other that I knew become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it, and after a while, I didn't care. Coming back was terrifying. I understand what I am. I really do, more than anybody. Like when they write about me in history, I'll be dead reading it like, yeah, I knew they'd say that. They say that a person can't dream of a face they've never seen. Can't believe that's true, but it's probably true. Boy, I got a long bank of faces. 32 years, I could close my eyes, I could think of any night. There's so many faces. Every night, most nights, they're all looking up, smiling. You have no idea what the world looks like from there. All different races, all different colors, all different kind of beliefs, just looking at me, smiling for 32 years, night after night. No comedian take that for granted. I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these button your lip. Say it anyway.
I first became aware of Dave Chappelle right around before the first Nutty Professor, because I was supposed to play that role that he played. And then I kind of saw him, and I was like, hey, that guy, right, that kid would be funny playing that role.
I try to be peaceful, but it's time for Reggie to karate-size your ass. Woo!
Dave is so much smarter than everyone. Like, Dave is one of the most, maybe the most intellectual comedian ever.
It took us 400 years to figure out as a people that white people's weakness the whole time was kneeling during their national anthem. That's a brittle spirit. That's right. On the rockets, regular. Ah! Ah! What are you doing, nigga? Stand up!
He stretched the art form and his impact on the culture. He is the voice of his generation, without question. Nobody's even close to him.
No, I've had to learn, and that's where Dave Chappelle has been a wonderful friend and mentor.
What did Chappelle say to you that helped you with that?
Chappelle said to me, we were doing a show at Radio City together. It was during his run.
Right.
And I was on one of the shows, and he said to me, I said, man, what am I going to tell these? Because I was like, I'm going to do comedy before Dave Chappelle. I was like, Dave, what am I even doing here? And Dave said, and I said, I don't even know if I'm funny enough to be here. I said, you're nice, and I think I'm a really funny guy, but what am I doing here? And Dave said, look, man, he said, you don't understand something. He said, you're not here because you're funny. He says, I know 100 funny motherfuckers out there. He said, you're here because you're interesting. And he said, anyone can be funny. Not everybody can be interesting. Not everyone can make an audience listen to what they're saying. Not everyone has a wealth of life experience that makes people want to know what they have in their minds. And so that changed my perspective on silence. And so now, if I can hear that an audience is listening, I'm engaged.
Well, that is a great piece of advice, not only for comics, but for anybody.
Right.
Because, wow, the thing that I love about Chappelle, and you just identified it, is he will go.
He's interesting.
And he is an interesting guy.
He's the most interesting man I've ever met. That's what makes Dave Chappelle. Many people are funny. There's a lot of funny stand-up comedians all over the world.
Yes.
But what makes Dave Chappelle is that he is interesting. It's how he sees the world between the jokes.
But all jokes aside, Kevin Spacey shouldn't have done that shit to that kid. He's 14 years old and was forced to carry a grown man's secret for 30 years. Jesus Christ, he must have been busting at the seams with that one. The saddest part is, if he were able to carry that secret for 6 more months, I would get to know how House of Cards ends.
Loved was, I can't believe that I've been in this business long enough that we're like the older guys now. It always blows my mind that I'm like 5 years older than Dave Chappelle, because he was already a made guy when I came in. So I always look at him like he's got 10 years on me, or 15. And, just when I watch his act, I'm like, this guy's clearly been doing this a good couple of decades longer than me. And the reality is, I think he's only been doing it like 6 years longer than I have or something like that. He's fucking amazing. And what I love too is just, he's that same, with all that's changed, everybody getting offended, all of this fucking crap, how you get in trouble, he hasn't changed at all. He's just like that same guy that I saw way back in the day when I used to go to the Boston Comedy Club and watch him go on at like 2 a.m. and just start murdering at 2 a.m. And I remember I used to always sit there going, how do you do that? How are you that funny at 2 a.m. in front of a crowd that gave up on the show like an hour ago, and they're tired and they just want to go home? That second he steps on stage, boom, he just starts fucking killing.
Dave's a beast. Dave's a beast, man. That's the only man that puts a little fear in my heart. I'm like, okay,
it's real.
What's he doing?
Do you watch him? Do you watch him?
Totally.
You study?
Totally. I got Chappelle. I got an app. I follow him. I'm like, my man Prince Paul always says, competition keeps you in condition.
True.
So yeah, that's my man right there.
The other real special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person, is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, "Pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son"? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, "Son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are." I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life. Time I was on stage, the guy that introduced me was a guy named J.T. Newton. I'm 47. I can close my eyes and remember the introduction like it was yesterday. It went like this. "Ladies and gentlemen, this next young man coming to the stage is starting his comedy career tonight. Who knows? We may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome David Chappelle." From the first time that I ever held a microphone, I was sure this was it. I knew I was home. I knew I had found my thing. And my God, man, I was a child. I got good. Matter of fact, I was good from the moment I started. And I'm not saying this to be a braggart. I'm telling you the truth. These old was in awe of me. How was this little boy so poised? They used to say. I was. I mean, you know, I got better, but it started out good. About a year into it, when I was 15 years old, I had written a joke during the AIDS epidemic about having a good year. Something, I don't even remember the joke. Something about an industrial strength condom by Goodyear. I just remember all the comedians really liked that joke. And there was an older comedian. And he came to me one night after the show, after he saw the joke, and he said, "Listen, I got an audition at another comedy club, and I was wondering, do you mind if I do that joke? I just want to borrow it." Now, I'm a kid. I don't know any better. I'm like, borrow it? Well, I guess, sure, if it'll help your career. I let him do the joke. And then weeks later, I was waiting to go on in a comedy club, and he went on before me, and he did the joke. And after the show, I pulled him aside, and I said, "Hey, man, I don't mind you borrowing my jokes, but you got to give them back." He said, "Oh, I forgot to ask you." He goes, "Let me buy that joke from you for $50. And I said, "Man, I'd do it, but I'm just starting out. I need all the material I can get." The idea being that the more material I can accumulate, the faster I'll be able to make money for my work. I said, "I can't do it. I want my joke back." I'll never forget this. Remember, I was a 15-year-old child. This guy was a grown-ass man. He stood up over me so I could see how big he was. And he said to me, "Really? I can just take it." And he did. I got scared because I was a child. But I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I was 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I think about this guy all the time. When I look at my own kids and I see how young and innocent they are, I can't believe someone did that to me. And I don't think about it every day because that was the worst thing that happened to me. I think about it every day because that was the first time that someone ever did that to me. But in my career, it has happened many, many times since, where someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. I'll tell you another story. Now I'm 18 years old. I'm living in New York City, and I just finished my first road tour, which was a very difficult tour. I'll spare you the details. Now I'm back in New York, but my rent is paid, thank God. And I have $60 to my name, and a woman that I had met in Pittsburgh, a bad Dominican bitch, was coming to New York. She was going to spend the weekend with me. I couldn't wait for her to get there. She was coming that evening. But remember, I only had $60 for a whole weekend to entertain a bad bitch. Now I'm walking through Greenwich Village, and I see something I've never seen before. 3-card Monte. You know what that is? Yeah, the guy had the whole thing. The table was set up, and he had the 3 cards, and the crowd was hooting and hollering, and he was like, find the red card, find the red card, and people were playing. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but it was really exciting, and I'm standing there watching it, and I noticed while I'm watching them play this game that the red card, the one you're trying to find, had just a little bend on the corner. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't seem to know that red card is bent. I'm going to beat this motherfucker. And I walked up to the table, and I said, let me play a hand. And I put my last $60 on that table, and he starts to shuffle and find the red card, find the red card. And I kept watching that bent card go around the table, make sure I kept my eyes on that bent card. And when he stopped shuffling, and he said, find the red card, I pointed to it with confidence. Here it is right here. And he flipped it over, and it was black. And he took my money. I couldn't fucking believe that. How did this nigga do that? Was that magic or sorcery? I was confused. So you know what I did? I sat there, and I watched him for a real long time play the game. And I realized that all those people who was doing all that hooting and hollering and betting, my God, they were his friends. They were in on the whole thing. I felt so wronged. I felt so stupid. And then the next sucker came up to the table and was about to put his money down. And I said, F that, man. Don't put your money there. All these niggas is in on it. It's a trick. And when I said that, the guy that was dealing, and this motherfucker was huge, snatched me up by my collar. Feel how strong he was when he grabbed me. I was a skinny little guy. And he was going to maul me. And the only reason he didn't, I'm sure, is because he saw the fear in my face. And that fear, he looked at me. I saw his eyes go from hard to soft. He softened. Then he looked at me like the way a father would look at a child. And he said to me, young man, don't ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him. Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the f*** could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out. And it wasn't good money and it wasn't good circumstances. But what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it? And the bag of money was Iceberg's money in the first place. What was I talking about? What was I trying to tell you? Last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I call Lauren Michaels and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do Saturday Night Live on election night. And the day I made that phone call, the day I committed to it, it gets announced that Netflix is streaming Chappelle's show. Not just Netflix. HBO Max is streaming it too. I'll tell you another story about HBO. No, hear me out. Did you know, before Chappelle's show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. I told them what I wanted to do. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? I found out that these people were streaming my work and they never had to ask me or they never had to tell me. Perfectly legal because I signed the contract. But is that right? I didn't think so either. That's why I like working for Netflix. I like working for Netflix because when all those bad things happened to me, that company didn't even exist. And when I found out they were streaming Chappelle's show, I was furious. How could they not know? So you know what I did? I called them and I told them that this makes me feel bad. And do you want to know what they did? They agreed that they would take it off their platform just so I could feel better. That's why I fuck with Netflix. Because they paid me my money, they do what they say they're gonna do, and they went above and beyond what you could expect from a businessman. They did something just because they thought that I might think that they were wrong.